All right, let's get into the news.
Let's.
What's happening? I haven't seen a lot lately.
There hasn't been a lot happening, but but Reggie's got a new job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going to be a professor a teacher at least at Cornell University.
Ah, good on Reggie.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's good news. Like, yeah, he retired in April.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
and just like, and this seems like it would fit his schedule a lot better instead of being the president of like one of the world's biggest companies.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had qualifications to teach.
I suppose when you've been CEO for long enough, you get those qualifications for experience. Like it just
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, like I always assume like some people get PhD through like honorary.
Oh yeah, honorary.
Doctorate?
Yeah, honorary
Doctorate?
doctorates are different though,
Yeah.
because they're kind of like honorary citizenships and stuff like that, where they're just given to people for doing shit.
Yeah.
But it just seems like the kind of thing where like if you're going to teach at a university, you probably want the person to have some sort of qualification in that.
In teaching, yeah, but
Yeah.
Reggie's also been a public speaker for like 20 years as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, again, I'm not saying he's not qualified.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that like it's not the pathway I thought he was gonna do.
Yeah.
Like I honestly thought he'd be like. Honestly, I thought he was set for life and he was just gonna sit on a beach somewhere and just be like drinking Mai Tais and forgetting about his worries.
Yeah.
But the other side of it was that I thought if he was going to go anywhere, he was going to go into like a consulting gig, like somewhere where he just.
He still might do that. Like
Yeah.
university professors get hooked up when they're at a good university, so
Yeah.
go around, get consulting roles, sort of thing. And like specifically, what his LinkedIn profile says is, he will meet standards with students, lead discussions centered around leadership, conscious capitalism, and service. And I think the conscious capitalism is.
Is an oxymoron, but okay.
It's an oxymoron, but like Nintendo is kind of one of the best examples of it.
Yes, because they don't treat their workers like shit. Because the CEO of the company decided to take a pay cut instead of cutting the workers' pay. I can see what that phrase means.
Yeah.
But what that phrase means is that the problem is larger than that. There's actually a story I want to talk about, which we'll get to in a bit, which kind of links into this, is the idea of like, there is a deeper problem, and it is not fixed by Reggie or just like individuals being like, we're going to think about it. Like it only gets fixed with action, with moving forward and actually doing things like in the correct way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, Reggie's, I'd take a class by Reggie.
Yeah, it'd be super businessy and
Would it?
Yeah, like that's what he's doing business.
He seems fun.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I mean, I would take a business class from Reggie because I think it would be fun.
Also, his speech cadence is great.
Yes, exactly.
Like, there's this video quality. There's this audio clip of him, someone impersonating Reggie, and it's the same cadence. Like, hello there, I am Reggie. Welcome to this Nintendo Direct. And then it goes into a thing like, simultaneously, I will appear in every house across the planet and attempt to steal your food. If you can stop me, I will give you a Nintendo Switch. But we both know that you can't do it. We both know you can't. It's really good, but I also love the idea of like omnipresent.
Yeah, omnipresent Reggie. Yeah. Reggie is God.
Yes. But yeah, that person did a much better job than I did, but it's fucking hilarious.
Okay, I should look for that clip.
But yes, it's being taught by Reggie. Yeah.
Seems like a fun thing.
Yeah.
Cool. So you got the next story here. Yakuza 7 will be a turn-based RPG?
You haven't seen this?
I've not seen this.
I sent you a meme about it like the day after because I'm like,
did you
get this? Yeah. It's like action RPG. Well,
did I just
Final
forget?
Fantasy 7 is now an action RPG. Yakuza 7 is now a turn-based RPG.
Oh yes, I did see that, but it didn't register. It didn't register because I was like, Yakuza is a turn-based RPG. I didn't register. So Yakuza 7 is actually going to be a turn-based RPG. That's fucking
April Fool's
crazy.
joke? seems to have evolved into. Do you remember the Yakuza April Fool's joke? Where
Yes,
they
yeah.
turned Yakuza 6 into an RPG.
Yes, yeah.
They just seem to like the idea so much that they're like, let's just make Yakuza 7
Well, okay,
this.
I've been saying for ages now that the reason Final Fantasy keeps fucking up is because they refuse to admit the fact that the turn-based RPG still works
Yeah.
and people still like it,
Yeah.
and that if they were to do it properly, people would buy it.
Yeah.
They want to do that hybrid Western thing, and they want to, we've got to figure out a way to do both. You're like, no, you don't. There's no turn-based RPGs anymore. There's Pokemon.
There's Persona.
There's Persona.
Persona.
Yeah, Persona's great, but like, it's not an RPG that like, Persona doesn't have the name value that Final Fantasy does. Not in the West.
Not in the West. Persona 4
It is-
Golden and 5 has changed it. Like
It
it
is-
is now a popular JRPG.
Yes,
in
but
the
it
West.
is
But
gaining
not-
traction, but it is still a niche market.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, if you walk into a game store and you talk to the dude who's looking at the Call of Duty section and you say, "Hey, have you played Final Fantasy?" The probability of him saying, "I have played a Final Fantasy in my life" is pretty fucking high.
Yeah.
Even if they're just a Call of Duty bro or a Madden guy or a
Yeah.
FIFA guy, the chances that they've at least played 7 or 8 or maybe even 6
Or 13.
or 10.
Yeah.
10's a huge
Yeah.
game. There are so many people I know who have played 10 and only 10.
Yeah.
That number is significantly higher than if you were to walk into a game store and talk to someone and be like, "Have you played Persona?"
Yeah.
Because you'll probably get 75% confused looks, 20% of like, "Oh, I've heard of it, but I never really," and then maybe 5% of people who've been like, "Yeah, I gave it a shot."
Yeah.
4% of people would be, "I gave it a shot and didn't like it," and 1% being like, "Yeah, no, it's great."
Yeah.
So it's not there, but the name value of Final Fantasy is there. And so if you were to do a turn-based RPG with Final Fantasy assets, with the new team, with a good story, it would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Yakuza 7 will do that because they're stealing the market that Final Fantasy refuses to go into anymore.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll play a turn-based RPG, Yakuza.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And I think like I want to play their game, but like that 6 Yakuza game, 7 is going to start with a new protagonist because the
Yes.
last guy definitively ended in
Yeah.
6. I don't know if he's dead or if he went to Hawaii or whatever. But
It'd be a good starting point.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
Judgment, it's a similar thing. I'm like, I want to play it, but no time. And
Yeah.
I had the demo, so the Yakuza 6 demo. I remember like people, it accidentally just gave you the whole game, like
Yes.
or whatever the
Yes.
it didn't tick off that you finished the demo and
Yeah.
you keep playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope Dragon Quest 11 demo does that for me.
No, they're
Nintendo
smarter.
and Square.
Square,
that I'm
way
looking
better. Yeah, way better than that.
at. So yeah, Yakuza
That's
7.
sick. I love the idea of a turn-based RPG with Yakuza.
Yeah, like one of the weapons confirmed is a motorbike.
Nice,
Like, it's fucking
nice.
smashing people with a motorbike. So it's Yakuza. So
I just wonder what they're going to use for the equivalent of magic in that world. So you just got to throw Molotov cocktails and shit like that. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
okay, now that you said that, I do want it to be like a parody sort of stuff.
Yes, yeah,
which is what
absolutely.
it already is, but
Yeah.
specifically for turn-based stuff, just giving people like sake to heal sort of.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. Like,
I can get into this. Yeah.
yeah, like
fucking
have a Phoenix down, but he just runs over there with like a defibrillator and just...
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm awake. And then,
And
yeah.
then uses the defibrillator as a weapon.
As a weapon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
More and more.
exactly.
more
Like,
things.
this is great. This is absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait. If this is real, I cannot wait.
It is real.
This is gonna be fucking great.
There's no trailer or anything for it, I think, but unless it's like a reveal.
What are we looking at release time frame? Like 2 to 3 years?
I
Like
wanna
2022,
say-
2023?
I don't think they've said anything.
Right.
We're
We're probably looking at next gen though.
almost for sure.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a great like 2021 title.
It would
Like,
be, yeah.
Yeah, like
It'd
there's
be
nothing
great.
else to play on these new consoles. I guess I'll play Yakuza RPG.
Yeah. Oh god, what a world we live in. It's gonna be so fucking good.
Yeah.
All right, that's
All right.
great.
Telltale Games, they're back.
Yeah, I saw this. The back from the dead-ish.
But, like-
it's so
But
fucking.
like only with half their limbs attached or something. 'Cause
It's
they've
so
only got Wolf Among
fucking
Us and
gross.
Batman.
Yeah, this is so gross. Like, so it's like, what? It's another company that's like,
It seems like it's just a bunch of investors.
Yeah, that are
just
like-
created a company and then
we're gonna take the name, resurrect what we can,
yeah.
give some people who are fired possible freelance positions, Oh, what a piece of shit. Look, if like this company died in the worst possible way, it should stay dead.
Yeah.
Like, investors shouldn't be being like, was resurrected from the grave, and then giving like half-ass. Like, if this group of investors was able to piece this back together and give a bunch of freelance positions to the original developers who were already in there, why didn't these investors, and this is what half reason, like I'm conscious capitalism, why didn't these investors come out of the woodworks when Telltale was going under, give them the money to fund themselves going forward so that these people didn't lose their jobs in the first fucking place? Reason, capitalism isn't conscious. It cannot be. You are constantly being, like, listening to a podcast literally this morning where someone was talking about the fact that, like, having $1 billion is immoral.
Yeah.
You cannot be moral and have $1 billion because $1 billion is so much money and can fix so many problems. If you have $1 billion, it means you are not using that $1 billion to do a bunch of things that could have been beneficial to everyone.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're not doing that means you are choosing to not help homeless, to not feed the hungry, to not help the poor, to not do all these things, which makes you immoral, which is an argument I've never heard before. And it's a difficult one to swallow when you think about it.
Yeah, no, I've thought about this before. So
I've never heard that specific argument before about, like, I totally get the idea of people having a lot of money being shitty. That's fine.
Yeah.
But being, like, actually by definition having $1 billion being immoral was like, oh wow, that's a really fascinating way of putting that.
Yeah.
And, like, this is the same sort of thing. A bunch of investors come in and be like, we're going to resurrect this thing. And, like, they pay half the price for it. They get half the IP. And they put all the workers on freelance contracts. So in America, no health insurance, no superannuation, nothing like that. They don't have to deal with any of that shit.
Yeah.
Whereas they could have probably taken the same amount of money, injected it into Telltale Games previously. Because the thing with investors is they're not doing this unless they like the company. They're not doing this unless they understand the company, unless they want to be a part of it, unless they think it can make money.
Yeah.
So why didn't you do it prior to it going bankrupt?
Yeah.
The reason is you didn't want to invest that much money.
Yeah.
Because now it's cheaper. Now you can make a turn. Now you can turn a bigger profit.
Yeah.
And now it's picking the carcass of something that's dead.
Yeah.
So fuck you. Fuck this. It's the worst.
Yeah. A lot of people said, like, this would be very different news if, like, someone like, what's his face, picked it up. He was recently bought by Microsoft, Psychonauts 2, Tim Schafer, or the other, Tim Schafer, the guy I was looking for. Or someone who else does adventure games. Like, if they bought, like, if someone else that had actual credibility within the industry bought them. Whereas these are just fucks we don't know. So there's no trust. There's no.
I mean, even then, with the, like, people that, like, it just means that, like, if Microsoft had stepped in and said, like, we're gonna resurrect Telltale, I would have said the same thing. If you're gonna resurrect Telltale, why didn't you fucking save it in the first place? Like, why did it have to die? All these people get fired, and then you pick it up. Why did that have to happen? The answer is it didn't. You just didn't want to spend the money to do it. You just didn't think it was worth it at the time to save 300 people's jobs. So fuck you. So even if that had happened, I would still be pissed off. The way this is working is just, it's the worst thing ever. Ugh.
Thinking of the alternate reality where this news does happen. Well, that's the thing. It happens so quickly that, like, we found out when everyone was being fired. There wasn't like, oh, tomorrow everyone's going to be fired.
Because of the mismanagement. Like, it was a fucking shit show.
But, like, how good it would have been to, like, for Microsoft, who has been buying studios, like, if they bought Telltale.
That would have been a coup.
Yeah.
That would have been an absolute coup. Because, like, although Telltale wasn't really making the money, Microsoft is the kind of, like, steadying hand. They could have been like, all right, motherfuckers, you're stopping right now. We've got the licenses you guys are making for the next 3 years. Here's your budget. Here's your shit. Get it done at a reasonable pace. Yeah. Here's a new engine. Here's a new everything. Here's, like, because they wouldn't have to build one. Just give them one of Microsoft's. Because Microsoft's got a bunch of engines under the studios they've already got. One of them will work for a Telltale game. It's not that fucking difficult. Plus, it always pissed me off that Telltale couldn't figure out how to make an engine that in a glorified adventure game. Like, seriously. Ugh. What the fuck? Like, there was no, like, honestly, looking at Telltale from a historical standpoint, like through what happened to it, there's no surprise it ended the way it did. It was always going to crash and burn and go out in a blaze of glory. But if we could see it from that distance, how come they couldn't Someone running that company was a fucking moron.
Yeah, no, that was the thing. People were like leaving the company, and then like the literal thing came down to an agreement didn't come through.
Yeah.
So all that funding was lost. Like, oh, well, we literally don't have money to pay people, so everything's gone, which is bad management. Like, always, yeah.
Yeah. Also, like just in general, your business should not be allowed to operate if you are. If a single deal does not go through, which means you have $0 and cannot pay anyone, your business should not be allowed to operate.
I know that's what a lot of people say about video games, that often it does come down to publisher agreements saying yes or no. The lifeline of your studio. And like when you're not a AAA studio. And that's the thing, like Telltale had like 200, 300 employees. And they're a different type of AAA. They were AAA by the product they were producing, not by
the licenses they had, not by the product they were producing.
And the fact that they made a really good Walking Dead game.
Really good Walking Dead game.
Like one of the best like games in the industry still. But
it's still held up. It's still held up as like one of the greatest games of all time. But it's. I never got it. I never understood it. I never understood the appeal of the Telltale games.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did. I like the idea of just going through and getting an even platinum trophy.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like for me, I was like, this is. I don't know I guess what people are getting out of Telltale games, I'm getting out of the Fire Emblem game. Like it's that kind of like deep storytelling, all that stuff, but it's got some gameplay, some actual gameplay.
Yeah,
like that's a little bit more in depth, and not shitty because the engines are fucking heap
you'll
trash.
like David Cage's games.
No, I will not. No, I will not. Been there. I'm not. David Cage. He just strikes me as the kind of person who thinks that he's thought of everything for the first time.
Yeah.
Like he goes, "Hey guys, what if we used robots to tell a story about racism?" And everyone's like, "You motherfucker, you piece of shit."
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Cyberpunk 2077. Oh yeah. There was some new gameplay and stuff that came out.
Yes.
That thing looks like a video game.
Yeah. It's a video game after video game.
Yep.
Which I was looking at and I'm like, oh, what they've shown reminds me of every open world game.
Yeah.
In terms of here's this vague plot line.
Yeah.
Do everything else but the main plot line, like Skyrim, as opposed to Witcher, which I felt everything fed into the main plot of Finding Ciri. Even if it was, hey, let's go resurrect this kid, baby, like fetus thing.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, that still felt connected to the whole story. It's just because we're not seeing everything in a linear fashion as they would present it to us.
Yeah, or as with the context of the rest of the world. No, one of the types of games that I hate is that type of open world where they have a big open world and they say do everything but the story. You're like, well, then why am I here?
Yeah.
Like it always frustrates me when they're like, oh, you can do like games like Skyrim and Fallout frustrate me because they've dropped into the world and they're like, you can do anything. I'm like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Why? You've given me no purpose. And if the story, the central narrative to your game is so lackluster that you're basically like, do anything but the story, then why am I here?
Yeah.
And that drives me nuts, which is why I like games like, I'm sure I would love The Witcher. Again, never played it.
I played like 30 odd hours. I loved the 30 odd hours, but I felt I got my fill out of it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I'm afraid that I will love The Witcher so much it'll be the only game I play for 2 years. So I'm leaving it because it's just
Switchboard.
No. If I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna play it on like the PlayStation or Xbox, or I'm gonna get the PC version. I'm gonna do it properly. But I don't have 200 hours to devote to The Witcher.
Yeah.
You know, I barely have 70 hours to give to Fire Emblem, so I'm gonna leave it. But and the reason I would like the game like The Witcher, or why I liked a game like Horizon Zero Dawn,
or even God of War,
which is
different.
Yeah, it's not open world sandbox. It's different, but again, still like large game.
Yeah.
And also,
I love that genre, large game.
Large game, yeah.
Covers battle royales and God of War.
Yes, yeah. It's a large game genre. Fucking hell. Well, the thing is, like, that was the thing that pissed me off about the discussion around God of War, was that people being like, well, it's not an open world. I'm like, well, what is an open world? Like, tell me what an open world is. What is the definition of an open world game?
Yeah.
Tell me. Anyone?
The world is open. And, like, to be fair, God of War is the most open world.
No.
Like, it has no loading screens. It has like no doors blocking off anything.
Yeah.
You unlock them, but then
But it's technically not an open world
because Corey said so.
Yeah. Because people said so? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And, like, you know...
It's not the open world of today's standard, but it's still a fucking large world.
But even then, like, I feel like the phrase open world has retroactively gotten worse, too. Because, like... There are, like looking at things like Final Fantasy 12. Like, that's not open world. Why?
Because it's a bunch of instances. Like, you load into an area...
But each instance is huge. Like, think about how big that game is and how much you put in there, but it's not open world because what? There's a loading screen between the places? Okay. So if that's your definition then like, then what is an open world? Because there are loading instances in almost every game, even open world games, especially when you fast travel. Like, it is...
I think fast travel is a little bit different, but I feel the idea of it is you can get from one side of the map to the other without going through any load screen at all.
Okay, so then why is a game like GTA 4 not called an open world? Because I've not heard them refer to... Like, I've not heard anyone refer to that as an open world game. Those are called... PS2 era games are called sandboxes. Yeah. Like, why is there a distinction there?
I don't know. Like, to me, those are open world games.
Yeah. Like, it just drives me nuts about, like, why is... What makes a difference between an open world game and a sandbox? And then also, in an open world game... Why is the necessity? I think Horizon Zero Dawn did it the best. Why do you have to have side quests that are better than the story?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that an open world trope now?
Because of Bethesda. Like, that's the reason. Why?
Bethesda.
But then I think it's Horizon and Witcher. We find that like you have side quests that inform the main quest and inform the world, rather than just have them be quests within the world. Yeah.
They help bring everything together, but the thing is, when you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn, if you just do the story and you just power through it, you will see that whole world.
Yeah.
You will see the whole world, you will see all the bits and pieces, you will learn everything you need to learn about this world. You can do side quests if you want, but they are side quests. They are optional. They do not need to be done to enjoy that game. In fact, you enjoy that game more by playing through its story and getting to its end conclusion. Yeah. And it's fucking amazing. Yeah. It's an incredible narrative piece, along with being a really beautiful open world game. Why does that not have to, why is that impossible? I just don't understand why that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I do want to bring it up so we don't sound hypocritical, but like Breath of the Wild is just like mostly optional stuff. Like,
well, again, I find myself getting bored in Breath of the Wild as well. Like, I like Breath of the Wild. Yeah. I think it's a fantastic game, an amazing achievement. Yeah. But again, the story, the actual story and the actual play, like if you just play through what you're supposed to do in Zelda to get to the end of that game, it's not great. No. It's fine. Yeah. It's functional, but I didn't finish that game for a very long time. Like, I got it with my Switch because my Switch was a present, so it came with so people who bought my Switch then bought me that as well. Yeah. And I played it for, a few weeks straight because obviously it was the only game I fucking had. Yeah. Before I picked up a copy of Mario Kart, and then like I played it for a few weeks, but the second I had other games to play on the Switch, I played other games. Mm-hmm. I didn't find myself sinking the 200 hours into Breath of the Wild that other people do because it had no narrative hook. And I know there are people out there that prefer that would prefer a game that has no narrative hook and you just dive in like a No Man's Sky or a Minecraft and do that kind of stuff. And there are times where I will want that as well. Yeah. But when I want that, I will play a No Man's Sky or a Minecraft. I will play something where it is designed to be completely open and ended and I just do what I want. I will not be picking up a game that has a narrative, but I'm being told the narrative's not worth a damn, so just do all this other shit. But the whole point of me being in that world is the narrative drive. Like Fallout 4 is the best example I can give.
Yeah.
The reason that person is in that world is to complete this storyline, but that storyline is so bad I don't want to touch it. So what I've got is the father of a missing child just wandering the desert and killing mutants for no fucking reason. And that just completely breaks the entire thing for me of like, well, this character that I am embodying has no purpose, has no reason to be here. And therefore just wanders the desert aimlessly. I mean, I guess that's a story, but I'd rather just not play this game.
Yeah. And I think that's what we are shifting from is Bethesda GTA style stuff. GTA had a story though.
Yeah, but
Bethesda
GTA does it in a good way where they have a story that's just a story mode, and then you just drop into the open world mode.
Yeah.
Which has no story, it's just go have fun.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I like
It has
that.
side quests, yeah.
Yeah, I like that method.
Yeah.
Like where you've got GTA and GTA Online, where there's like two different sides of it.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, cool. You play the story mode, you get your characters, you get your narrative, you get all that information. And then if you want to just run around and goof around and fuck shit up, yes, we have an open world mode for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, I think the industry is moving away from Bethesda style open world games to Witcher, not Minecraft, Horizon.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because like I said, so far from what I've seen from Cyberpunk,
It seems like a Bethesda RPG, but CD Projekt Red I think is better than that. Well, they've shown it. Witcher 3.
yes,
Like,
yes.
one of the most important games of all time.
I don't know, and everything I have seen so far about like anything that has been like storyline so far in Cyberpunk has been really fascinating.
Yeah.
So
They also came out, it was a weird thing because the headline came out, like, you will not choose your gender in Cyberpunk 2077. I'm like, I want to be a female protagonist, and then they're like, you don't choose your gender, you choose your body shape, and then you choose your features, masculine or feminine. Like, there's no, you're not restricted by the binary. Like, if you're a woman, if you're a woman, you can, if you're feminine shape, you can still have a beard. Like,
right.
because, like, we're at Cyberpunk, you've got a fucking chip in your brain, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that kind of stuff as opposed to being male, female, it's masculine, feminine features. You can
Right.
which I think is good. Like that just
They needed to after they need some goodwill because they've been fucking this up left, right, and center.
Yeah.
They had the opportunity to make a game that is fantastic in all the right ways, and they have continued to market it in all the fucking wrong ways. So we'll see.
How do you mean? I think I've missed all the wrong way.
They've had a bit of homophobia and transphobia go through their marketing.
Yep.
In terms of certain like ways that things are done. So it's interesting that they said that they can do that because I think initially it was like, no, it's going to be male or female, and a trans option would be added later. Was the original wording coming out of CD Projekt Red, but it seems like maybe they've shifted that now, and so that solution is great.
Yeah.
But I think initially it was meant to be like, no, you'll pick male or female, and we don't have a transgender option yet.
Yeah.
It was like ... yet. It's coming, but it wouldn't be there by the time launch happened. So it feels like, and then that coupled with there's an advertisement somewhere in the game. I had some issues with the way this was done, like the way this was brought forward and then the way it was reacted to. There is like one of the recent trailers, there was a fucking split-second screenshot of the backdrop of the entire city.
Yeah.
And there's like right and down the bottom of the corner, there's a poster with a transgender person on it, and it's, let's use the word distasteful. The way they are treating that person and the way they are kind of objectifying that person, kind of treating them less than human almost. But it is the tiniest thing in this big collage of other shit that's happening. It was picked out and singled out. And it's frustrating because we don't know the context in which that's happening. Is the world okay with this? Or is the world not okay with this? And then the debate then has to be like, if you are depicting a time, if you're, say, making a movie and the time frame is the Civil War, is it okay to use the N-word? That's the debate you now hit. Is that like, okay, cool, if you is historical accuracy okay? Or should we just know for the sake of like moving forward?
Yeah.
Where are we sitting there? And I think that was the problem, was that the conversation should have been, if we are depicting a world where this thing is going to be okay, is it even okay to depict that world, or should we just leave it out entirely?
Yeah.
But instead, it kind of came in with a flood of like, this is transphobic, and then the response from CD Projekt Red was not good. I forget the specifics of it, but I remember it being like, ooh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, just say, whoops, sorry, we'll make the change. Like, just get it over.
Yeah.
But no, they kind of dug their heels in and did some weird things. And then, so it's not been fun for them because they are existing. Cyberpunk as a concept of a world is this kind of transhumanist world where anyone can be anything at any moment in time. This whole, the idea or the dream behind the cyberpunk world is that your body is finally able to reflect your inner person because you can just make the changes as necessary.
Yeah.
But the whole thing around cyberpunk is that anyone can make those changes, but only a few are able to because the means of production and the world still exists in this like shitty capitalist society where the rich can make the changes that they want, but the poor are stuck with scrounging for what they need.
Yeah.
And like it's all this kind of weird stuff, and they had a chance to do something good with it, but they've just kind of fumbled at all the key moments.
I think.
So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I know they weren't great with like race stuff in Witcher.
No.
I'm putting it lightly.
Yeah. So that's the
thing. I want to say like hopefully the final product reflects everything as everything contextualized properly. But yeah, exactly. Like context is key in this situation, and we don't know what the context is for Cyberpunk. But hey. Yeah, and the race stuff was brought up after people, like a month after Witcher came out.
Well, that's the thing.
The black people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like at the end of the day, like a lot of people will play this and not even notice.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's the problem where the argument comes from on the other side is that like there are two major problems. One, people will play this and not even notice, and they should. They should notice the bad stuff in that game. But then the other side of it is that there are a bunch of people who will play this and will notice. And they will be silent because it's, they don't want to rock the boat. But they shouldn't be. They should be bringing it forward. Yeah. The world should not just exist in a place where it's okay to do this shit. Yeah. So, yeah.
And it's also, like, tricky because this is obviously a cynical take on the future. So then a cynical take involved treatment.
I would call it realistic, but hey.
Yes.
Cynical.
Yeah. My point being is that, like, with this kind of stuff, it then comes with the reflection of people treating people badly in the art, and then that comes back to the creators. Like, do they hate trans people just because this person is beating up a trans person or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's not.
Yeah,
like,
and the thing with
video,
the thing with video games that are difficult as well is that like when you're looking at a play. Like a single play, you can kind of make some assumptions and draw some conclusions from what the themes of the play are and what the playwright thinks and feels because of what they put on there. Because it's a single person who has put down this entire play from start to finish or whatever it is, and you can kind of draw some conclusions as to what they think and believe. Yeah. However, when it comes to a video game, there are hundreds of people working on that. Yeah. There is the possibility that when that screenshot went out, like when they were looking at that entire thing, that the QA testers or the art asset people didn't fine-tooth comb every fucking detail on there because that's a lot of time and effort, and they're trying to create a video game. And this the thing is that like, this is the frustrating thing about living in a world that we live in. Is that the argument that is given, the people that make the argument of like that trans poster shouldn't have been in there, yada, 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 are correct, but they're attacking the wrong, they're attacking the wrong thing. The problem isn't that the person did it because yes, that's a problem and that person should be removed, but they very likely may not have just not noticed because it's such a big fucking game they're trying to create and you only have X number of people working X number of hours. What did you want from them? Did you want them to crunch? Is that what you wanted? Did you want them to crunch until they found every single homophobic and transphobic thing in there and removed it from the game so that this game comes out on time? Yeah. The answer is no, you didn't want that. So things are going to slip through the cracks because an individual art designer has the ability to make things and drop them into games, and coding is difficult and complex, and people can throw things in there. We are still finding things in games from 30 years ago because of the way people code things, that you can go into a secret room and be like, holy shit, I didn't realize any of this was here. People are going to drop things into games based on their own personal, ideology, religion, whatever you want to call it. And so we're not going to catch everything unless you're willing to hire 1,000 QA testers to go through everything for 1,000 hours, constantly. Because of the nature of this thing, there are things that are going to slip through the cracks. And so attacking the developers for doing it is not going to help in the same way that attacking them for, missing a bug fix is not going to help.
Yeah.
The issue needs to be pointed out, it needs to be addressed, and then people need to be like, you need to fix this. And it needs to work the same way as like everything else. It just needs to be fixed. Because one of the things I wanted to talk about was there has been a string of sexual harassment cases in the games industry recently.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any more to add to them.
No.
I don't think there's anything to say. It is what it is. But I came to the realization last night about what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because I suddenly realized that like every industry is copying this. Every industry, not just games, every industry, not just Hollywood, sports, banking, government, every part of the world is getting hit with this. And it will not change unless something is changed in the reaction of it. So one of the things that is very difficult when you're looking at the reaction online for these kinds of like claims is, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do we do? Okay, a claim is made, what needs to be done? And this will change, the world will change, the whole thing will start to change when the reaction from one of these entities is correct. Because so far, no entity has gotten the reaction correct, I don't think. Hollywood hasn't got it correct, because what they tend to do is that someone gets accused of a thing and then they just kind of blacklist them or like wipe them from history. And you're like, okay, well, it's not like they didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like we know that they still exist.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like what? And then it's kind of like hush, hush, keep it quiet. No one talks about it or them ever again.
Yeah.
Like that's not the correct reaction.
Yeah.
Government, it just tends to disappear. Like usually the people with the accusations tend to get disappeared. And every other industry tends to be the same sort of thing, which is like, oh, we suspended him, we're doing internal investigations. This is what the video game industry has done so far. And I think that the reaction needs to be, I think I came up with a solution, and I don't know whether it'll work, but it's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the problem comes from multiple directions when it comes to these. So what needs to happen, and I don't know which company does this first, or this is just an idea. Just sue me. Or take it and run with it. The accusation should happen, and then the internal investigation, the HR department, the whatever is currently doing it in that company should go to that person. And it should just be a simple, we have had an accusation of this, X.
Yeah.
Right? Did it happen? And the person who's being accused gets the chance to say, no, it didn't happen, or yes, it did happen. If they say yes, it did happen, if they admit guilt straight up, cool, thanks for telling us, you're fired.
Yeah.
Immediate termination, you are not getting any more money from this company from this second. Like, you're being paid up until this second, and then that's it, you're done. And on top of that, any redundancy packages, any health insurance, any golden handshakes, any bonuses, any extra money you were supposed to get because of a redundancy that was coming out of this company, you forfeit it. You're done.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, that would also come with, we are now going to do an internal investigation into all of the specifics of these incidences, and whenever these incidents occurred, if this was a government agency, I would say that they would be fined whatever their paycheck was during the time that the accusation happened.
Yeah.
Because you should not be allowed to profit from doing these shitty things.
Yeah.
So whatever, if it was a government agency, I would say do that. If it's a corporate one, I guess you would have to sue for that amount of money.
Yeah.
As I don't know if a corporation can just say you owe us this amount of money and then leave it at that. I don't know the legality of that. But ideally, what you would have is that the person is terminated, they stop getting paid from the second that termination happens, and they would have to pay back. If it was a 6-month string of sexual harassment, that 6 months of pay goes back and it goes to the victims immediately because they should be compensated. It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't, but it is something. It is the least that company or entity could do is to give them the money that this piece of shit earned while they were abusing this victim, regardless. So that would be if you plead guilty. If you plead not guilty, if you say, no, it did not happen, all right, fine. You have the right to defend yourself. And I think that does get lost a little bit sometimes, is that you do have the right to defend yourself. But from this second onward, you are suspended with no pay whatsoever. That's the end of it. You go home, we are doing an internal investigation. Once the investigation comes back, if you are found guilty, same thing as the first process. You're fired, you're done, you give us back what you had when the abuse was happening. If you are found not guilty, if we get to the end of this, and this is a false accusation, which, this is always such a shitty thing to say, it has happened. And it's
through the number of...
It is so insignificant, you almost feel like you shouldn't have to say it. But I feel very similar to this in the death penalty, in that 4% of inmates on death row are innocent. And if any percentage is innocent, then none of them should be there. And I feel the same way kind of this thing here of if any percentage of them are false, then we need to address the possibility of that existing. So in this case, if it would be a false accusation, then the person would be reinstated and they would be back paid from when the suspension happened because nothing went wrong. The person did nothing, so therefore they shouldn't be punished for doing nothing. But if they are found guilty, fuck them. That's the end of it. And that's what it should be. It should just be from the second the accusation is made, we believe the victim, we move into the process of finding out what happened. And based on what happened, it should be really easy for companies to just say, you're fired, also give us back the money you made while being a piece of shit. And I think that's a start. It doesn't fix the problem. Sure as fuck doesn't fix the problem. But it's a start for justice on... Because obviously the problem is that it shouldn't be happening in the first place. Doi. Goes without saying. But in terms of justice for what has happened in the past, it's a start.
I think that's all a fine plan. My only thing is that it gets into the larger problem from the justice system of companies regulating themselves as opposed to the police regulating crimes, which is a crime that's been committed.
And that's why I was very careful to say the entity, because this could also be government. If a government agency was to do it, then if a government somewhere around the world was the first to do this kind of process and get it done, you could turn that into legislation. So that's why I say entity, because I think if a corporation was to do it, it would be the first, in the whole conscious capitalism. A lot of the times when a company is the first to do something, it does domino effect and everyone else does it following them. So if a company was to do it, maybe it would turn the tides corporate-wise. But I feel like in terms of actually getting change, it needs to be a government. A government of some description needs to have when an accusation comes forward, they need to just follow those steps and procedures and just go through to the end of it. And I think it would be the best if a government did it, because it makes the most sense, because in terms of paying back what you earned while you were doing this shitty stuff, that's all public money. And that feels like the absolute right thing to do would be fuck you, you don't get any of that shit, and giving it all directly to the victim because they deserve it, because they went through hell while you were sitting up there with your cigar smoking bitch of a friend. It's just a fucking, it's so fucking gross. I hate that it's happening, but it needs to happen. Someone needs to, some company, some entity needs to be the one that goes, fuck this, we're done, this is happening no more. Also, this is what happens from now on. Because the threat of it also will help. You know, the threat of punishment, threat of being caught, the threat of actual repercussion. Because that's why it's still happening.
Yeah.
Honestly, is that the threat of repercussion is zero. Because a lot of them, if they do get caught, they get suspended for 3 months and they come back to their cushy job anyway. Or if they do get let go, there's a golden handshake and a golden parachute for them. So they get like a fucking, million or $400 million just for leaving the company.
Yeah.
I was like, no, in a sexual harassment case or an abuse case of any kind, your like payouts that you get, I think that's the big one. The big thing here is like suspended without pay, these people are already rich, they don't care.
Yeah.
Being fired, these people are already rich, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's the list of things they get for leaving the company, the list of payouts that total millions of dollars, that if they were all just null and void and terminated because you fucked up so you don't get to have those things, that would probably set more of them straight. Because that is a lot of money. It's a lot of money that they would no longer get. And so, and again, why conscious capitalism doesn't work. Shitty people being paid to not do shitty things is not a fix to the world.
Yeah.
That is essentially what that is. It's like paying people to be like, look, just don't be a piece of shit and we'll pay you millions of dollars. And it's like, you would ideally want people to just not be pieces of shit, like internally.
Yeah. And I think that's just, it's just again, there's even if this was like not necessarily high level CEO or like that sort of level, even if it just is normal desk jobs, these incidents can still occur. But then like the harasser has lost their job, but their name didn't blow up. And I think like we are talking like, this is from the Me Too movement, which is top level, but the Me Too movement is to inspire all levels of society. So the person who lost their job, they weren't blown up on Twitter or anything. So unless they are a convicted sex offender through either the law, they can go get another job.
Yeah.
So like the company regulations, they might have like memos that they can send, but that's not anything as opposed to going through the justice system, which is fucked unto itself.
Yes, agreed. Like, which is why I think that like the idea that I had like in my bed last night, just thinking about random shit, was like, okay, like it's a starting place, because I think the key to it is the payback what you earned while you were doing this, because that although it doesn't mean that there's like a criminal conviction, it does make things it's a way harsher penalty than just you lost your job. Because you're right, you can just get another job, but you better get it quick because you owe us this much money. Like you better fucking shape up and get right, and do your shit. But again, like I'm not above seeing flaws in my own plan.
Yeah.
This whole thing is based on a capitalist system where money is needed to continue to live. And honestly, I think that's wrong. So this whole thing falls apart the second we destroy capitalism. And then we need something else.
Feudal system. That worked for a couple of years.
That worked. But basically the idea was just me just saying, like, sitting in my bedroom and going like, man, with all this shit that's happening, I've yet to see a company do it right. I've yet to see a company or entity deal with one of these situations and come out the other end with everyone going, you did everything you could.
Yeah.
You did exactly what you were supposed to. And the thing was, I actually sat there going, what is the right thing to do? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because like I said, because there is it's such a small and insignificant percentage of false claims, but I saw one reported like literally in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And, it's such a small... that was the other thing. The reason you have to have... If you're sitting there going, well, I believe yes, I agree with you. And the false claims are bad. But one of the things that worried me really quickly about this is that the internet and people who are shitty on the internet are so good recently at weaponizing these kind of movements in the opposite direction that the Me Too movement has not just covered women, it is starting to cover men's sexual harassment and men's sexual assault, which is an important thing as well.
Yeah, Terry Crews was there.
Big first step there.
Yeah.
And the accuser of Kevin Spacey was a male. So it's not just females. But
Which, yeah.
I can draw the line. I can draw the line, and I can see the path where someone who's an alt-right neo-Nazi motherfucker decides that they're going to use the Me Too movement to take down their manager who's a female because they just don't like her, because he's a misogynist and doesn't want her there. And he can use that. So you need to have the mechanism in place for false claims, not just to protect those who are being claimed against, but to stop those who are making false claims from even trying. Because is one of those things that I think a lot of people do forget, is like how quickly the internet does weaponize itself and become this kind of hulking mass of, whoa, that's not what we meant it. That's not what we want. We didn't want this, and it just happens. You're done.
Yeah.
Reactionary politics is never going to work all the time. You have to be able to foresee these problems and have a reaction ready to go rather than reacting on the fly. Because reacting on the fly gets you Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's what happens. This is what you get. You need to be able to set out your plan in motion first. Like I said, this is why protests always sometimes bug me, because they're just like, protest! Vague thing that we want with zero time limit, okay? What?
Yeah.
No, you protest. Here's what we want. Here's exactly what we want. Here's a date. Get it done. Like, give me clear delineated things to do.
Yeah.
Cool, we're good. It just creates... there's a possibility that this will create an environment that'll be worse, and especially because these new claims are coming from the games industry. And gamers
are passionate as many a man like Todd Bethesda.
Yes, yeah. Like the fact that most game outlets use the word passionate rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, they're not passionate. No, they're fucked. Like let's keep it real. Most gamers are fucked.
The loud ones that just yell at everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, not even that. Like, just in general, most of us are not right. I'll admit that. I'm not right in the head.
I'm not right, but I don't attack people.
No.
But
it's just like we have this problem where there is a subsect of the industry, of the community, of the gamers that is desperate to be seen as more mature than they are, but they're 4-year-olds having tantrums on the internet.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
The second there is something different that they don't like, nah, you're ruining my game.
Yeah.
Because it's got a black lady in it. Nah. You're like, fuck, Jesus. Okay. Like, it's just the worst. It's the worst human beings on the internet. And that is why I think it has taken so long for the Me Too movement to hit the gaming industry, is because movies, television, literally any other industry, you've got some dickhead people, but for the most part, fans of that are genuinely good-natured and good-hearted.
For the most part. Marvel fans are the exception, I would say. They are just gamers, pretty much.
I would say Star Wars fans, not Marvel.
That's the next level.
Yeah, like Star Wars fans are pretty rough. Marvel fans, for the most part, like, I don't see a lot of negativity from them online generally.
Whenever Captain Marvel was brought up. Yeah, she destroyed Endgame.
But Black Widow's cool.
Sorry?
But Black Widow's cool.
Yeah.
like
she's not a feminist. She's just the dude who runs around. She's just the woman who runs around.
I don't know. She's pretty feminist.
I know, but yeah, they don't have a movie about her, which is why
they will.
Black Widow, which is why they hate the Black Widow movie.
What? Why?
Because it's starring a woman.
Fuck these people. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why? Why would you not want to just be looking at Scarlett Johansson for 2 hours straight? Why would you not want that?
That's what I don't get about misogynists, is that they claim to be straight to begin with.
Yeah.
And then they hate looking at women on screen.
Yeah.
Like they hate women's sports. They hate like those things are pretty much designed for the men's male gaze.
Yeah.
But like women like them too?
Yeah.
Oh no.
God, they're the worst. Okay. Marvel maybe, but for the most part, when you have these
movies in general, yes,
they're not
no
as violent.
That much. They're better than being directed by Andy Serkis.
Yes, it's like they're not violent and vitriolic the way their gamers are. Yeah. And I could just imagine a bunch of women sitting there going like, I could tell my story, I could come out and say something, but the reaction online is going to be so fucking vile that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. That is a real fucking shame.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a very specific type of vial, because that vial was shown during like the initial Me Too coming out party sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very different because for some reason in gaming it's so much more intense.
It's intense and personal. Like
Yeah.
they go straight for the they go straight for the death threats.
Yeah.
Like there is no ramping up
No.
with gamers. They just go immediately from I don't like what you said, I will kill you. Like
Yeah.
what? Where was what in the hell?
Yeah.
And they're the worst.
Yeah.
Come at me, incels. Fucking bring it. Like they're just man. It makes me angry because the thing that makes me most angry about this is what we're missing out on because of it.
Yeah.
Because Reaction Online is so fucking vile and disgusting, what games have not been made because a corporate person said, that's probably going to go bad? What stories were shut down because someone looked at the online reaction to something similar and went, actually,
Yeah.
if we do this, we're just going to get a bunch of angry neckbeards in our face, so
Yeah.
it's not worth it. Like, how many times has a female-only studio been just about to make the rise and just been shut down because everything went to shit
Yeah.
because some dude decided he didn't want this to happen?
Yeah.
Like, fuck them
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. It sucks.
Well, that's a downer.
Yeah.
But we do have one other story here. We didn't really talk about it at all.
No.
The CG Projekt Red commits to being... so on top of all of their Cyberpunk stuff, they commit to being a 2 IP studio.
Yeah. Which Cyberpunk and Witcher, which I'm like no surprise there, but I kind of wanted a new IP from them, like their own IP, because Witcher they bought from a guy who's super mad at them. Cyberpunk is a tabletop game, which
Yes.
they just made the tabletop game story into
Mm-hmm.
like their own thing.
The end shot here, or I think the question here is that, are they capable of it? Is the studio capable of making its own IP? Or is it a studio that is just better at taking existing IP and turning it into games? What are they? And I don't know if they've got the writers or the creatives there who could create their own ideas out of thin air. That's probably the limiting factor here.
Yeah. I know the reason they did The Witcher, because they wanted an IP that was Polish and had home relevance.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, I think they just took it up because it's a cool IP.
It's a cool
They
IP.
like playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Those Witcher 2, I will say, and then Cyberpunk, for the most part, no one knew about those franchises. Like, 100,000 people knew them total probably before they made their way to mass media as they have done now.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, I think they can do their own IP. They can come out with...
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying... Yeah, they could.
Because they bought these IPs from nothing.
Yeah.
But from a creative point of view, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I definitely believe that if they were to create their own IP brand new from scratch, it would do well.
And especially now after they've garnered...
If Cyberpunk does well, then it would absolutely be like they could literally do whatever they wanted. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted and they will probably make bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my question is just like, okay, well, considering that both of their big hits are currently existing ideas that are just being molded and fashioned into video games, do they have the creative chops in there, or do they need to hire a creative lead to make a new thing? And it seems like they're just not going to. They're just going to stick to those 2 IPs, which is fine for the moment. But I think they will run into, 5-10 years down the track, they will run into the Bethesda problem where it's Skyrim, Fallout, and I'm like, okay, well, you're at Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls 6, so what else can you do, guys?
I think you missed Fallout 5 through to 75.
Fuck that game. Is that still running? Is 76 still running? Like, is it still up? Does the server still work?
Yeah. Drive Club's down though, so there's hope.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, Drive Club, all of his shit got taken down.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
76, I don't know how long. Like, Anthem's on its last legs. They fucking...
Especially since the patch to fix everything wasn't all that great.
No, and apparently the Cataclysm's shit too. Yeah. So, like, what even is that game now? I should go back and check.
But yeah, I think it's interesting because, obviously Witcher got spun out into Gwent, so they can just have that as an ongoing income along with GOG, which they own.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a mobile Cyberpunk game.
Well, they've
said they've got multiple Cyberpunk things in the works, haven't they?
Yeah, but also they do have their like Gwent-like things. Isn't there like a chess game in that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there was some sort of like weird chess offshoot, like Star Wars type chessy thing. Which I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, like
that.
yeah, absolutely.
I've never thought of gamifying chess before. Besides it being the game, what it is, but yeah, swapping in the pieces and then gaining advantage.
Yeah.
And then you just pay $1,500 for it, and then you get all queens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Chess.
Well, I don't know what the actual rules in the game are.
It's very different.
Yeah, but it would be like a very like it's sort of like a 3D chess type of thing, and then you could do like if you were to do it. Yeah, you could spin that off into its own game, and then you could also spin it off into like physical game, like a physical
Is
thing.
Gwent physical yet?
Yes and no. There is a physical set of cards, but they were only available in the collector's edition of Witcher 3. So you had to buy a special version of Witcher 3, and then you got like, it was weird. There was like two. It was like I think it was split between the platforms. So if you pre-ordered it on Xbox One, this special edition, you got one deck, and then if you pre-ordered it on PS4 and a special edition, you got the other deck. So you needed to have both to get But yes, there are physical Gwent cards. They do exist. So,
but they're not for sale.
No.
From them directly.
No. They might once the Gwent game goes out, like maybe they'll start making their own, but I just don't think in terms of the way Gwent is currently standing, I don't think there's enough cards to justify a deck booster pack system, because it's like there's like 4 decks and they're all pre-built and they're all just like it's basically a rock paper scissors type thing, and like it doesn't really matter which one you pick, it's about how you play them. So like there's no like booster pack system that you could do yet. Obviously, when the game starts to play and starts to get out there and involve, then maybe they would eventually have like a Pokemon like booster pack system, and then we can all go to hell. Sorry, but like the number of card games out there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh boy.
Whatever.
Yeah. I'll let them do it.
Yeah.
I got no problem with it. It'd be fun. So I think that's it. It's been a heavy episode in bits, but hey, thanks for joining us. If you liked us, please leave a like and subscribe. Also share with your friend. If you have any questions, comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. Patreon is patreon.com/amalgamshow. Website is www.theamalgamshow.com, and all social media is at The Amalgam Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.